A podcast? Did your radio show get canceled?
Fire. Low down and filthy, but the discipline is on point. Schooled myself, made my own dojo. A cold flow with the whole dose of soul. Maintain composure, even in theory. An anomaly, properties undiscernible to mere peasants. Use weapons.
Hello, I'm Peter Dunn, and this is the $1 Million Plan. On this show, we tackle all sorts of financial issues, and we're going to do that today. How about that for the new open, by the way? That was terrible, though we're going with it. Here's the deal. I had a pile of vegetables for lunch. I'm not going to lie. I was like, I want to make a healthy food choice. I had a pile of vegetables, so that has me really thrown off, and I don't know what's happened to me. Speaking of not knowing what's happening, let's welcome our guest this week. His name is Joe. He's a minority owner of a business, which I assume means he's also a ginger. And he's trying to decide what his retirement path looks like because he and his wife are both working. She eventually wants to stay home, and he joins us now. We've been talking about him like he's not here, and he is here. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm good. I like you call me Peter. Makes me think that my wife has somehow deepened her voice. And so, Joe, you doing well? You doing okay?
I'm doing pretty good today.
What do you have for lunch?
Oh, I haven't had lunch yet.
Oh, which means you're on the West Coast, doesn't it?
It sure does.
All right, excellent. So what's the deal? All right, so you got a business. You're a partner in the business. You and your wife are doing fine financially. But what now? What's going on?
The real deal is that although we're doing fine, my wife would like to ideally stay home with the kids.
Okay.
And retire early, so whatever retire early means. So for us, that means trying to set a realistic retirement number.
Okay.
And based on that number, what age she and myself could retire at.
Okay. How old are the both of you right now?
I am 39 and she is 34.
Okay, so she is much younger. I mean, much younger. Like
significantly.
Almost creepy. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so she's younger. And like when you guys talk about a retirement age, like what age keeps popping up?
Well, for her, it's as soon as possible.
Okay.
For me, that's the question is. I know that 67 is full retirement age. I would love to not work to that if I don't have to. I would love to be in my early 60s if possible.
Okay.
But I have a hard time setting a realistic number and really knowing how to budget for retirement.
All right, well, let's do it. That's why you're here. Nicole, let's take a look at some of the numbers here. Joe is 39 years old. I'm going to do this like, what's the Love Connection? Nicole, you aren't old enough to have seen the Love Connection, are you?
I think I know what you're talking about, though.
Someone in the office made an Alex P. Keaton reference today, and you had no idea what the hell we were talking about.
Yeah, it went right over my head.
All right, so here's the low. Joe's 39 years old. His gross annual income is $180,000. His net monthly income is right at the tick of $9,100. Long-term savings, $252,000. Monthly 401k contributions, $2,800 a month. And his savings account balance is $50,000. Joe, is most of that accurate?
That's pretty close to accurate.
Okay, good. Sometimes I mess up. All right, so bring that back up, Nicole. You're please, ma'am. You're at $180,000 of income. If your wife stops working, if she retires early, if that's what we're calling that, how much goes away?
About 80,000.
Okay. So that takes is she maxing out her 401k right now?
She is now. We were a little under for the past couple years, and then I just got, or not maxing out, I just updated us to 15% contributions on everything.
So your net income goes down, probably, what's her take-home pay, like her specifically?
Oh, her specifically is 80,000 gross, so if it's monthly, around $3,500 a month, depending on how many pay periods.
$3,500 a month? So that $9,100 goes to what, $5,600 a month?
Yep.
What do you think? So you've been able to accumulate $50,000. Has that been because you've been cash flowing in a positive way on a month-to-month basis, or are there big chunks of money coming in? Like, how are you on a month-to-month basis?
I've done that a little bit of both. I've always been a saver, and I've always had it going over to the side automatically every month. We've had, and I've been doing that for a long time, and then we've had some big chunks of money through bonuses and that sort of thing that have come in over time as well.
Sure.
And so that's been a long time of building these savings.
Are you still putting are you putting any money towards that $50,000 on a monthly basis?
Not right now. We
Okay.
have a car savings account that we were putting money aside that I've stopped on.
God, is our life like? I feel like that's what we're doing. Like we stop. We have plenty of money in savings, but we were saving for a car right now. And I also saw in the notes you're addicted to bass fishing.
Very addicted to bass fishing.
Here's the deal. Okay, I have not bass fished effectively since about October, and I have no ability to do so anytime soon. And I'm gone most of March and April. And for Christmas, the holiday I celebrate, people got me a bunch of bass fishing stuff. So currently, as it stands, Joe, right now, I just watch YouTube videos of other people fishing.
That's pretty much how I do it now too. It's living vicariously through them. Between work and kids, I don't have as much time as I used to.
My wife has stopped mocking me for, like, she'll walk by and she no longer says, "Are you watching bass fishing videos?" She just sort of walks by and just lets me live that sad piece.
Unfortunately, that same exact thing has happened at my house. My wife still does make fun of me whenever I'm doing it late at night, though.
It's pretty sad. How long have you been fishing? This is not the point of the show, but it is now. How long have you been fishing?
Oh, since I was a kid. I was raised fishing.
See, I just discovered it in my 39th year, which it's like I'm mad at all my forefathers for not really bringing me down that direction. It's like they clearly were not good survivalists because I'm not.
No, you've missed a lot of time.
I have. It's like the thing about people like, I don't want to die early because I love my family. I got a lot of fishing left to do. That's the way I view it. It's like, they're great and all the family, but I'll miss so much fishing. Okay. So here's where I think I'm going with this. Like, how much is going towards the car fund right now?
Right now, I was putting $800 a month aside for a while, and I've recently cut that to nothing. And we're going to have to buy a new car soon, so we're going to deplete those funds.
Nicole, let me see the debt and the housing stuff. Pull that up for me, will you? There we go. No debt, no medical bills, no student loans. I could have asked you these things, but $2,000 a month mortgage, and it's a 30-year fixed at 4%. So what do you spend all your money on other than lures? Like, what are you spending your money on?
Oh, family right now, I guess. Family, kids, school, shoes for my wife.
Yeah, I have a shoe problem myself. Think about that. I've got your bass fishing problem and your wife's shoe problem. I am quite the combo.
That's a big problem.
It is a big problem.
That is a big problem.
What would happen if you subtracted $3,500 a month out of your life right now from a cash flow perspective? Do you have daycare expenses?
Cash flow, we do have daycare expenses.
How much?
Yes. I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
That's a good one to know.
I could try to find out real quick.
Kind of figure that out. As you're doing that, what's your, this is a brainless kind of information that you know, what's the biggest bass you ever caught? What away?
About 6 pounds.
What? I'm at 4.19, I think is my PB. That's not bad for fishing for like 4 months, right?
That's right. That's not bad.
That's what I tell myself. I think I was lucky. I did buy it at the grocery store, if we're being honest. I bought it and I cooked it. No, I seriously caught it. What do you think? What are you paying daycare? You figured that out yet?
I'm looking. I'm trying to look on my...
I like to imagine that you've got like a Rolodex and you're just thumbing through them very quickly and turning the wheel, looking for an answer.
Maybe, it's close. About $1,000 a month.
Okay, so really the net, and I'm going to be presumptuous here, your wife stays home, she's taking care of the kids, no one's going to daycare, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's a net $2,500 difference. I mean, to see what we're doing here, we're trying to say like what we're saving versus what you're losing and that sort of thing.
Yep.
So, and then once the car is paid for, you buy the car, then you're not saving $600 a month towards a new car and you're not putting it towards savings. is it reasonable to think that $600 can then be not saved because you wouldn't be earning it?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're down to $1,900. I can't imagine she uses a ton of fuel to get back and forth from work. I mean, does she?
No.
Okay. What other expenses can eliminate? Does she eat out for lunch every day at like Fogo de Chao, like a $39 lunch every day?
No, we try to keep it. We try to keep it pretty tight on going out too much.
You ever go to one of those Brazilian steakhouses and just get overwhelmed by the amount of meat?
I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
I have a coworker here, and we all went once just for fun a couple years ago, and the guys were coming around with the meat swords, just shoving meat swords right into your face, and she just couldn't handle it. She about hyperventilated. It was something.
A little difficult to say that out loud, isn't it?
I feel okay about it, but then again, we have the ability to edit this show. So we're at 1,900. What else can go? Can anything else go that's like easy that goes to make the numbers work?
Easy. That's the problem. I just don't think that there's a whole lot of easy. I feel like we live a pretty straightforward life as of right now.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is $5,600 a month, plus the $1,900 that we can't really account for. I mean, I say, you know what I mean. So $7,500 a month is what you think it takes to live your lifestyle the way you live it.
I think so, and maybe it's because I'm saving so much as well. I'm saving for my college kids, as my college savings for my children. So that's about $1,000 a month that I'm putting aside.
Interesting. All right, so that's that's a lot. How much do you have in there?
About $21,000
each or total?
Total.
How old are they?
6 years old and 3 years old.
Oh my God, your house is so loud, isn't it?
It is terrifying.
Oh,
loud.
it's so loud. I just want to watch fishing videos, and that's why I put on headphones, honey. It's why I put
headphones.
Sorry, I didn't call you honey. I just assumed my wife doesn't watch the show. Interesting. Okay, so there's a couple other issues here. Number one, you're part of a business that, you tell me. You said it's not going amazing, right?
Yeah, it's not going amazing. It's one of those things that we'll have to keep evaluating as we go. But I don't think that I can necessarily count on that as being a long-term retirement plan right now.
Do you have the sort of skills, or are you in a particular sort of industry where you are marketable and hireable if you ever needed to switch directions?
I think so.
Okay. If people ask me that question, I would say absolutely not. I have no measurable skills whatsoever, which is sadly true. And then, is your wife in an industry that she could go part-time? Or is that like an idea? Is she like a dental hygienist who apparently every dental hygienist I know is part-time and they make like $90,000 anyway?
Her industry, for her to be part-time, it's almost not worth it.
Okay.
But full-time is. So not necessarily, I don't think so.
She's a bookie. Okay. Yeah, this is interesting, right? Because let's look at your $1 million day if you kept it up. I mean, if you kept doing what you're doing, you never got a raise, you just saved exactly what you were saving, your $1 million day would be May 28th of 2027, which is not far away. It's 9 years away. You'd be a millionaire if you kept at this pace, and you would only be, 48 years old. The old lady, I never call a woman that, would be 44 years old. And by the time you retire at 67, if you kept up that pace, you would have $5.85 million with a net monthly income of $13,639 a month. But after inflation figured in, it would feel like $6,800 a month. So you essentially would be able to continue your exact same lifestyle that you're more or less living right now. Like, what's really interesting about your situation is like, okay, you're at a nice level, you're saving a lot of money, but it's almost a straight line of when you retire, you're living the exact same lifestyle, which if you both work the rest of your career and you're comfortable with that, that's actually a really good outcome to glide into retirement in more or less the exact same lifestyle that you're able to live now. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But then the questions start, right? Like, well, that's great, Pete, but that's not what we want to do. One of us does not want to continue to work right now. So how do we make that work? How are you willing to make that work? And how is she willing to make that work?
That's the big question. My first thought would be to get rid of the mortgage payment by paying it off early, so that when we hit retirement, that's $2,000 less a month that we have to worry about.
So you've got a 4% 30-year fixed, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How deep into it are you? How many years have you been in the house?
2.5 years.
Okay, so yeah, a while. What are 30-year fixed right now? Like 3.5 or 15-year fixed, like 3.5%? I think so.
Not exactly sure what they are. Something like that.
You don't keep track of current mortgage rates? What's wrong with you? How much equity do you
Not
have?
necessarily on my daily routine.
Wow.
Probably about $150,000
Of equity?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So I mean, from a percentage standpoint, like pretty good. I mean, you own well above 20% of your home, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You think you'll stay in that house for a while?
Another great question. I think so. I think we'll probably be here for at least another 5 years.
You don't call it like your forever house. Well, number one, because it probably isn't. Number two, that's just a really annoying term. It's our forever house.
That is.
Right now, someone's listening going, I literally just talked to my partner the other night about our forever house, and now you're mocking it. It's a weird term. I don't like it. Not that it matters what I think.
It's a weird term.
It's our forever house.
Let's just choose not to use that term on this show.
Yeah. If you know, then you know. So this is difficult, right? Because this is like one of those things where things go well if everything stays the same. But is the desire to change worth shifting the number? Because if you shift the number, let's say she stopped working today. Let's do this, okay?
Okay.
You're putting $2,800 a month towards the 401k. How much of that is yours? $1,500?
Oh, something like that.
That's like $1,200. If you're doing 15% of $100,000, it's like $1,250 a month. We'll go with that.
Yep. Okay.
Then you'll have $3.9 million at retirement, $9,100 a month, and $4,500 after inflation. So it's less. I mean, it's substantially less. $2,000 a month in today's dollars for inflation. I wonder, how does that sound? I mean, your income will arguably go up, and you will put more percentage towards retirement, but that does definitely compromises things. It moves your $1 million day back 2 years, which doesn't sound that bad now that we're talking about it, does it?
That doesn't sound that bad, and I guess, at that age, $4,500 might be okay if we don't have the big mortgage payment.
It will, and plus, the real number is $9,100. After taxes, it's $9,100, but it feels like $4,500. I guess what gets compromised, and I know you've had this conversation, is the ability to save as aggressively for the kids' education as you are now.
Yes.
I don't know if Nicole, bring up his house payment again, please. I could just ask you, Joe. I'm in the mood to read right now. Okay, it's your house payment's $2,000 a month. You're $9,100 a month income. So you're at about what, 30%, close to 30% of your take-home pay going towards housing, which isn't crazy. I mean, do you live in an expensive area?
It's getting more expensive. So, yes.
This is interesting. What does she think? What does Mrs. Joe think? Like, where is she? I sort of understand her desire, but what is her current solution?
Yeah, Mrs. Joe does not have a current solution. She would like to keep her current lifestyle and not work.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
I would
but she also she is also willing to continue to work to do what we want to do as a family.
Oh, man. How long were you guys married before you had children?
Oh, 4 years.
Yeah. Do you guys make about the same amount of money back then that you make now?
I think she made more than me back then.
Oh my gosh, it's a dream. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying to find a way to make this work. I think we're just faced, and it's not even a harsh reality. It's not like I'm breaking bad news to you. I think you know this. It's like, it's math.
It is math.
Unless you take a pretty substantial lifestyle hit. Or, and this is where, as a guy who's a bass fisherman as well, I understand in your mind you probably are upset that the solution currently isn't, well, I can just make more money. Do you feel a little sideways about that?
I feel pretty sideways about that,
I
yes.
know. God, man. You know, a few years ago when Mrs. Planner decided to stay home, it was a great success, and for me, it was a great accomplishment that we were able to do it, because, Joe, for 3 years prior, I didn't make enough money to make that happen. And it made me really upset, and it hurt my pride, and so I feel you. And even today, we've been able to adjust. It's been a little easier to adjust with incomes. My income has gone up, thankfully. But yeah, man, that is frustrating, because that's sort of the hidden part of the problem. You may tell her from time to time you wish you made more, but at the same time, you're dealing with a business that is doing okay, and you're doing the best you can, right?
Right. It's a little frustrating.
So as an owner of the business, you make 100 now. What did you make over the last 3 years? Like, can you think back to the pay over the last 3 years?
It's been pretty consistent over the past 3 years, and it'll, of course, it'll fluctuate up and down as the business performs differently. But I've been pretty consistent in that 100,000 area.
Is the health insurance through you?
It is through her work.
Oh, jeez. So that's a whole nother thing.
That is.
Here's what's going to go down, Joe, and I can feel this. You're going to go home tonight, and you're like, well, Pete says we can't do it, and then I'm a hole, right?
Which makes me feel much better.
I know. That's why this show exists, so you people can blame me for things. Look, I mean, I can't break math. And so I would just say right now, that is not in the cards. And here's the worst part. I'm saying this to you, although I've just expressed my personal feelings and I know how you feel. The only way this gets solved is if your income goes up by about $50,000.
Yep.
But, I would also say you don't actually have a problem. You have a good problem.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the key is to not let the good problem fester into a problem.
I would agree. And I guess the plan is, if I get my income to go up over time, and then still thinking 5 to 10 years out of being able to have her stop, we'll already be in a better situation by then anyways, of having the kids' college savings kind of taken care of.
Yeah, here's a couple things. Let's work on a sort of a 3-year plan here for a second. You've got your 3-year-old would be in kindergarten 3 years from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's $1,000 a month for daycare right there. So here's what's got to happen. As your pay or her pay increases going forward from this day forward, I'm about to marry you to somebody. From this day forward, if your income goes up, you have to make sure that your lifestyle does not increase a single penny. That money has to be saved penny for penny. Number 2, when Joe the third gets to kindergarten, that $1,000 a month you've been paying in daycare, and there may be some after school care costs, penny for penny, whatever you're not spending on that must be set to the side on a monthly basis, not only to accumulate, but to make sure it isn't reabsorbed into your lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And over the 3 years, I would think one way or another, your career path starts to become enlightened, right? I mean, you start to know what's going to happen. And that could include potentially maybe having health care at some point because of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I think you can rest and say assured that over the next 3 years, probably she's not going to be able to stay home. And I think that's comfort to a degree, because then you quit playing the guessing game and what if. It's just not in the cards, at least for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, I wish I could solve this.
I wish you could too.
Wonder if I would have.
Math is math.
Wonder if I would have eaten meat today. If that would have helped, because I just had vegetables. Oh, man. That's sad. We'll never know. We'll never know. Do you have life insurance?
I do have life insurance.
How much?
I have 500,000 on myself and 500,000 on my wife.
So it's probably not enough on you. You know?
I'm in the process right now of getting that pushed up to $1 million.
Okay, there we go. There's the number. You guys got a will?
We do have a will.
That's good.
But back to the life insurance question.
Yeah.
I know you've answered this question 1,000 times.
I don't mind.
I am being pitched on the permanent life insurance policies right now as the quote-unquote investment option.
Yeah.
And leaving a legacy. My idea has always just steer clear of those types of things, but I guess just wanted to hear your quick opinion on that.
You know, I'll give you an answer. I'm going to start my answer, and it's going to sound like I'm not going to give you an answer, so just stick with it. Don't hang up on me. Like, if you got hit by a meteor right now, or like North Korea got after it, you'd never hear the answer, and so that'd be bad, so just hang tight. Okay. So I'm not the person that says permanent life insurance is bad. I just, it has its place. I don't think it has its place for you as it stands now, because it would require a pretty significant monthly premium to insure the additional $500,000, which means you're becoming more dependent on your income. You've got less margin, less discretionary income to mess with, which makes it harder for your wife to stay home. If you were making twice the amount of money you were, or 3 times the amount of money you were, you've maxed out your 401ks, you're maxing out all these different things, and you want an additional type of tax shelter for the future, yeah, sure, that's fine. But dude, if I were you, no way. No way. But again, that's not to suggest they're all bad. It's just I would not, if I was your financial advisor, I would definitely not recommend that.
Okay, no, that's kind of what I was already thinking anyways.
That's a good question, though. What else? Any other? I'd say I'd answer bass fishing questions, but I know nothing. I literally know nothing. Every time I catch a fish, it is complete luck, zero skill. But can I answer any fishing questions for you?
I don't think so. Do you have any fishing questions for me?
I have all day. I mean, like, look, here's the problem, though. If I start asking them, people switch off the podcast. I had someone ask the other day if they wanted to, if they could advertise on our podcast. And we were like, oh, sure, we have here our rates or whatever. They're like, all right, we want to put a 7-minute clip of our podcast in the middle of your podcast. And it's sort of a hard no. You know what I mean? It's sort of a, hard no. It's sort of weird. Like, if you're listening to my podcast, Joe, and then all of a sudden you hear maybe it was like a Japanese anime podcast for 7 minutes. Would that be weird?
That'd be a little weird. I'd probably change.
But if it was a 7-minute bass fishing podcast, it's like you found gold.
I would turn it up.
Let me see if I have any bass fishing questions for you. Do you have a boat?
I do have a boat.
You have a boat?
It's a little boat.
It doesn't matter. The size doesn't matter. It's the ocean of the... Never mind.
I got it.
I've never been on a fishing boat. Ever. I fish on a shore.
That doesn't make sense.
No, I know.
How can you be addicted to bass fishing and never been on a boat?
I fish in Carmel retention ponds. In Carmel, Indiana is sort of a ritzy community. The fish swim in private schools. I mean, it's just a weird... Like, I fish in retention ponds. And I caught a 4-pounder in like a public lake. It was really a retention pond. I've never really been fishing.
Well, at least, it makes it easier to catch when they're a captive audience like that.
There is, but I mean, they still run the okie doke on me. I've never been on a boat. I've had some listeners and readers offer to go out on their boats, and I'll probably do it this spring if I'm ever home. But man, I don't even know. I don't even know. So I'm so sad right now. Thanks, Joe, for this.
No problem.
What's your favorite YouTube fisherman?
Oh, that is a good question. There's a group of guys. Well, I'm going to be plugging somebody else, if that's okay.
I don't get the Guggen Squad. I assume you're going to say them.
There's a group of guys called Geo, or that go under the name GeoBass.
Oh.
And they travel around the world doing big adventure fishing shows, and it's pretty awesome.
Do you ever watch like John B? That's sort of my jam.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't really watch him.
Yeah. He's like, here's the creepy thing. He's like this 21-year-old kid making hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube making bass fishing videos. And I watch him religiously, like, it's a little nutty. It's sad. What I've just said aloud is the saddest moment of my life, what I've just said.
I think that's maybe why I don't watch him, is because I might be a little bit jealous of what he gets to go do every day.
Yeah, this is the worst moment of my life. Joe, thanks for being part of it.
I'm glad I could help.
And I had vegetables for lunch. All right, I got to end the show because if I don't, I'm going to quit my job. Joe, I wish you the best of luck. Your wife cannot stay home. Tell her it's my fault. And someday, maybe we'll have the opportunity to dip our rods in the water together. Wait, is that... Seems...
That's a little creepy to say as well, but it sounds great.
Let's go play a little grab bass.
All right. Grab bass.
I got to go. All right, Joe. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
If you want to be on my show and talk bass fishing, we can do it. Do you want to talk about vegetables? I'll try. That's a good problem to have, Joe. Joe had a good problem. But you know what? I wrote a column about this recently. Sometimes people got good problems and they turn them into real problems because they try to get cute. As long as Joe doesn't get cute, he'll be fine. If he tries to make it work when there's just no mathematical solution, it will not end well. And I'll tell you, let's not get weird with gender here, but I have felt like I have failed my wife before because I could not deliver a request for her to have the ability to stay home with her children when they were super young. I don't really talk about this. I've never talked about this. That is my one of the times I've been most disappointed with myself in my life. So I get it, right? You just want to deliver on that. You want to feel like you can solve every problem, but you are doing your family a disservice if you do it anyway. Do the math and go grab some bass.
If you want to be on this podcast and have Pete fix your money life, then hit us up at PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. You heard me. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. Log on.
This is for information purposes only. It's not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
Released from Everest, the fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you love-tron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love-tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?